morning Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Trinidad and Tobago to move to make the CCJ its final court. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, September 10. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The Trinidad and Tobago government says it will move next year to replace the London-based Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, as the country's final court. Speaking at a political meeting of his ruling People's National Movement on Sunday night, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley disclosed that at the appropriate time in 2019, a motion will be filed asking parliamentarians to vote in support of the CCJ, which is based in the Twin Island Republic. He gave the country the assurance that every member of the ruling People's National Movement in Parliament would vote in support of the motion. Rowley says going this route is important given that a significant number of Trinidad and Tobago nationals are unable to access the Privy Council. Now, while most of the 15-member CARICOM countries have signed on to the CCJ's original jurisdiction, only Barbados, Belize, Dominica and Guyana are signatories to the appellate jurisdiction of the court. Grenada and Antigua and Barbuda will each have a referendum on November 6 for citizens to vote on joining those four. In November 2014, the then Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar told Parliament that replacing the Privy Council was a matter that ought to be put to a referendum at the appropriate time. Well, there's other legislation that will be coming under the microscope in Trinidad and Tobago. Government says it will review legislation regarding marijuana use. Several Caribbean countries, including Jamaica, Antigua and Barbuda, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, have taken legislation to their respective parliaments to deal with the use of marijuana not only for medicinal purposes, but to relax the harsh penalties for persons caught with a minimum amount of the drug. Prime Minister Rowley says the issue is a matter of social justice that needs to be addressed.
Our jails are full of young people, largely young men of our societies, because they smoke a marijuana cigarette. Many of them might have smoked too. All of them would have had their lives somehow negatively affected by having smoked a marijuana cigarette, because the law in this country makes the smoking of a marijuana cigarette a criminal offense. The minute you can drink as much rum as you want, drunk and drive and kill people in the road if you wish, you don't get charged for criminality for having drunk the alcohol. You can smoke as much cigarette, poison people with second-hand smoke, you don't get charged for being a criminal. But the marijuana smoking in the upper echelons of society, where a serious number of acres of marijuana is burnt.
The Prime Minister acknowledged that the issue is also affecting families. He says he has met fathers who've lost their jobs because they smoked a marijuana cigarette and ended up in jail, leaving their children unattended and unsupported. Rowley says he's sure that was not the intention of the law.
And it is my responsibility as leader of this country to have this matter properly examined. And I'm in discussion with the Attorney General to determine how we treat with this problem, so that societal disruption, that injustice, like the other changes that we have made along the way, that in this time and the times ahead, that we could deal with that matter, so that in a later period, we could look back at this time and say this was the time when we dealt with that problem, because it is a problem that can only get worse.
Still in the Twin Island Republic, the police service has denied allegations that its members were ordered to collect information on teachers who were not at school during last Friday's Rest and Reflection industrial action. Police Commissioner Gary Griffith said Monday that the claim by the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Lindsley Dudai, that police officers collected data on teacher absenteeism was untrue. Now, Dudai had told reporters that at least 65 to 70% of teachers had stayed away from classes in support of the call by the joint trade union movement to protest the decision of the government to shut down the refinery of the state-owned oil company Petrotrin. And some principals, mainly in South Trinidad and the capital, had complained about police taking information about teachers' attendance. But the police commissioner said no such instruction was issued by him or any senior member of the police service, and he challenged the union president to provide the description or names of the officers who he claimed carried out such actions or the license plates of the police patrol vehicles in question so that an appropriate investigation can be conducted. Griffith said that this would ensure that if any officer did usurp his authority and act in such a manner, he would be disciplined accordingly. But he said if no information or report is forthcoming, then it would be accepted that Dudai's accusation is without merit. Thousands of St. Lucians took to the streets on Sunday to protest the policies of the Alan Chasney government and call on him to call elections. The demonstration, which was organized by the main opposition, St. Lucia Labour Party, SLP, attracted a wide cross-section of residents. Demonstrators carried various placards, including those calling on the government to reopen the state-owned Radio St. Lucia that was closed because of financial problems, and chanted songs calling for the ruling United Party administration to go. Opposition leader Philip Pear said he was pleased with the turnout, describing it as probably the biggest ever demonstration in St. Lucia.
But my brothers and my sisters, I want to tell you, what we are doing here tonight is our democratic right. We have a right to dissent, and this government cannot believe that because we are expressing our right to dissent, they can victimize us. I said to them, this victimization will never stop us. We will march when we have to march, and very soon I will be calling you back on the streets to march to see the back of this government, my brothers and sisters. We have to fight. This Labour Party you saw tonight, people from all walks of life, UWPs, NOPs, talk show hosts, former ministers, they came and they said how they felt about this government. But this Labour Party, we are going to defend the patrimony and the right of free speech for the people of St. Lucia.
In other news, out of Castries now, Prime Minister Chasney says he wants justice for the St. Lucia national shot and killed in the United States by a police officer last week. 26-year-old Botham Shem Jean was shot in Dallas, Texas by a white police officer. Amber Geiger, a 4-year veteran with the Dallas Police Department, allegedly went into the wrong apartment in her building last Thursday night and fatally shot Jean. Now, police said it wasn't clear what interaction occurred between the officer and the victim, but the officer fired her weapon and struck the young man. She then called 911 and firefighters transported Jean to a hospital where he died. Geiger was arrested but released on Sunday night on $300,000 US bail. Now, Prime Minister Chasney, accompanied by lawyers as well as Jean's relatives, including his mother, Alison Jean, said he was in the U.S. in support of the family.
There are really two very, very strong emotions. One clearly of great sadness. Sadness that a young man lost his life at such a young age. Sadness knowing how close Allison and their family were to both of them. The other emotion is one of anger. To think that a young man would be in his apartment. And the possibility could be that somebody could come to his door and he ends up being dead. I know for the family, there are also mixed emotions. One, trying to heal and to be emotional about the loss of their son, but then also being forced into this situation of having to want justice.
And reporters were also questioned Chasney as to whether St. Lucians regard the United States as a safe place.
I mean, unfortunately, the news coming out of the States in recent years has not been very, very good. And certainly with the immigration debate that's taking place in the States, I think it's understandable that a lot of immigrants are fearful of America. But I don't want to really cloud that with this issue. This issue is really about family.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, concern about possible human rights abuses under the state of emergency in Belize. Stay with us. More news after this.
Oh, it's amazing here. The weather, number one, is perfect. This is a perfect site.
One last thing, those junior riders, we're going to have those junior riders moving up to the pro class for this event. It's going to be exciting. Let's see what happens.
Can't wait to see that.
Oh, man. Well, this is going to be close. We got about 3 riders that got a good start. Wilson being one of them on the outside.
Warner got the whole shot he's been looking for all year long. He is out front.
Dominica's World Creole Music Festival in 2018, October 26, 27, 28 at the Windsor Park Stadium in the capital city, Roseau. 3 nights, over 8 genres, 40 years of independence, 1 location, Dominica, the 20th edition of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. For more information, like our Facebook page, Dominica Festivals. Visit our website, www.dominicafestivals.com for all travel, accommodation, and ticketing details. My love, my home, my Dominica. Building a resilient nation. See you there! Proudly sponsored by the Government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority.
Lawyers in Belize are concerned about possible human rights abuses under the state of emergency declared. The government had announced the measure last week to deal with the escalation of gun violence in the area, and National Security Minister John Saldivar said he was prepared to go to Parliament to seek an extension, but the Bar Association says it has some serious concerns regarding the legal basis for the measure as well as the manner in which the Belize Police Department has been operating so far. But it's not only the group concerned about human rights abuses. The Human Rights Commission of Belize has brought attention to the arbitrary incarceration of residents of the old capital. It says the extraordinary emergency provisions amount to the suspension of fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution. Kevin Arthurs is the Vice President of the Human Rights Commission.
The only thing we've had to justify 100 people, and I want that to sink in, 100 young men have been detained. They've not been told why they've been detained. And we've had an admission from the authorities that 25% of them should not be there. Oops. A lot of times we look at things, you know, in the extreme and we say, listen, you know, well, bad man, they get locked up. We have an admission from the police themselves that we have been 25% wrong. So, I mean, we have to make sure there's a big cast net, and it's an absolute power. You do not want to give absolute power to any authority, whether that's the police, a politician, or anyone. And so we have to assess what we're doing.
Dominica, still recovering from the battering it took from Hurricane Maria last September, is preparing for the passage of Hurricane Isaac that forecasters say could pass near or even over the island by Wednesday night. Acting Prime Minister Reginald Oste told a news conference that while residents should not panic, they should take all necessary precautions to prevent a occurrence of the deaths and destruction caused by Maria when it slammed into the island on September 18th last year. No watches or warnings have been issued so far ahead of Isaac's arrival, but the Miami-based National Hurricane Center has urged interests in the Lesser Antilles to monitor its progress. At 5 p.m. on Monday, the hurricane, which has maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour, was located 1,090 miles east of the Lesser Antilles and moving towards the west near 14 miles per hour. A westward motion with a slight increase in forward speed is expected through the end of the week, and on the forecast track, Isaac should move across the Lesser Antilles and into the eastern Caribbean Sea on Thursday. Additional strengthening is expected over the next day or two, but weakening is forecast to begin by the middle of the week as Isaac approaches the Lesser Antilles. And a 4.2 magnitude earthquake rattled Trinidad late Sunday night, but there were no reports of damages or injuries. The Seismic Research Center of the University of the West Indies said that the quake occurred at 11:34 p.m. It was centered 22 kilometers northwest of the southern town of San Fernando, 24 kilometers south of the capital, Port of Spain, and 36 kilometers southwest of Arima. The Seismic Research Center did not say whether the quake was the latest aftershock the island has been experiencing after a magnitude 7.0 earthquake rocked Trinidad and Tobago late last month, resulting in several buildings there suffering structural damages and several cars crushed by falling walls. And ahead in Newsline Sport, Amazon Warriors beat Trinbago Knight Riders in round 30 of the Caribbean Premier League. Stay with us. Sport is next.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. Before the hurricane, protect your windows. Permanent shutters are the best protection. A low-cost approach is to put up plywood panels.
Dominica's World Creole Music Festival in 2018. October 26, 27, 28 at the Windsor Park Stadium in the capital city, Roseau. 3 nights over 8 genres. 40 years of independence. One location, Dominica. The 20th edition of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. For more information, like our Facebook page, Dominica Festivals. Visit our website, www.dominicafestivals.com for all travel, accommodation, and ticketing details. My love, my home, my Dominica. Building a resilient nation. See you there. Proudly sponsored by the Government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority.
This summer and fall, Brilliant Barbados is offering you hotel discounts of up to 40% off regular rates when you book through Expedia before October 31st, 2018. Discover our Dine Around program specials at participating restaurants across the island, starting from US $50 per person on 3-course meals. For further information and full details to book your Barbados holiday, visit brilliantbarbados.com.
The Guyanese pair of Shimron Hetmyer and Sherfane Rutherford teamed up to help Amazon Warriors crush Trinbago Knight Riders by 6 wickets in match 30 of the Caribbean Premier League at the National Stadium at Providence on Sunday. The Knight Riders suffered a batting meltdown after losing the toss. TKR slumped to 109 for 5 before Darren Bravo brought back some stability with his unbeaten knock of 42 from 34 balls. Dennis Ramden chipped in with 32 while captain Dwayne Bravo perished on 14. Medium pacers Sohail Tanvir and Riyad Emrit picked up 2 wickets each.
He's picked him out, has he? No, he's got it over there, Hero Maximum. Flat batted. Over cover. And there those long levers. And that runs away quickly. Too quickly. And blasted, absolutely blasted. Here we go, the big fella, sizing it up. And again. Got to get up. And it does. Just enough on it. Hetmeyer tried his best. And hasn't quite got it. Now Hetmeyer. He's going to swallow that one.
Let's not deny Sahel Tanvir. Change up, just gripped enough in the turf. Comfortable catch in the end to Hetmeyer. And a cameo of 30 from just 14 for big KC. It's 146 for 6.
Oh, he could be out. Oh, and he's well done. Held it back, held it back. So we'll just make sure he didn't hold it back for too long.
And oh, is it goodbye and good night? Remember, on the line's out.
Anderson Phillips goes for naught. 146 for 7.
In reply, Hetmeyer posted a well-played 59 of 30 balls, and Rutherford remained not out on 45 from 13 deliveries in their runs chase of 154 for 7. South Africa all-rounder Cameron Delport chipped in with 37 for the Warriors after they finished on 158 for 4 in 14 overs.
And then he's held in this shot down the ground. Huge! 50 up and 24. Run right over 10.
Oh, smoke it!
This is an onslaught. It's coming from both ends. And I can't see it stopping, folks.
Oh, you're joking! Giving it licks! Oh, yes! Oh, my God, the manager! He's standing up loving this.
No ball. I hope so. 6 and a no ball. It's not. I know it's not, but was it? Has he got hold of it? Of course he has. You, Hero Maximum, you. Wave flags. Oh, my goodness, how exciting. Best batting we've seen collectively.
And not the best bowling, I must say.
Gone! Gone again! 22 off the over.
Rutherford is on fire, and so are the Warriors.
Got him!
Leg spinner, forward hammer, just settling things now. Hetmeyer can't respond, and defeated.
Young Shimron Hetmeyer, 59 from 30.
Chadwick Walton comes to the crease. Gets a beauty. It's a no ball as well. Well, they found the recipe. The Amazon Warriors on the cusp of victory. And they will get there. They will get there in style. Look at the celebrations. Richly deserving. A team back against the wall. They've done it.
This was a big game. A big, big, big game. And look at the elation. These two. Oh, it's a joy to watch.
Yeah, the Warriors, they go on to win by 6 wickets.
Staying with cricket, Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell is anxious to see cricket return to the island. The Spice Isle is one of the venues set to host England's tour of the West Indies next year. The last match played at the National Stadium was back in August 2014 with the Windies versus Bangladesh. And with international cricket returning after a 4-year hiatus, Mitchell says the island is set to reap the benefits.
Grenada will host 2 one-day international matches early next year in what is being billed as the biggest England tour of the West Indies. The all-format 2-month visit by England, which begins in January, will see them face the West Indies in 3 tests, 5 ODIs and 2 2020s. All the fixtures will take place in the Eastern Caribbean, with Barbados, Antigua and St. Lucia staging the test matches. Grenada, Barbados and St. Kitts will share the ODIs, with the 2020 split between St. Lucia and St. Kitts. The ODIs at the National Stadium take place on February 25th and 27th. Avid cricket lover Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell says efforts will be made to ensure the facility is ready to host international games.
Well, we will ensure that the fields are going to be ready. The sports ministry feel confident that it will be in proper shape for the games coming up. The fact that we are now getting some cricket after a long, prolonged period, I think it will be seen by the public as an important event, and I think the ministry together with the Cricket West Indies and of course the government as a whole will do what it has to do to ensure that this investment that we are making will in fact pay off tremendous dividends for the country.
He assures that this massive investment government is making will reap benefits.
The exposure to the country, remember, we've also always said that whenever these games are held at an international level, especially a country as England, as you know, whenever the English team travels to a country, the thousands of visitors follow them. That's one of the more popular teams in the test arena and cricket in general. So I expect to see thousands of visitors here. In addition, of course, to see the population being mobilized accordingly. And don't forget the benefits to the population in various service industry, the hotels, all other areas of services. I think you will see tremendous benefits. So although we've invested resources, I expect to see that investment will be seen as a very wise one.
And that's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Well, I was kind of hoping to miss one of their normal sand dune days, but no luck. After being jolted awake by an ice-cold pool, we headed for some more torture at Sand Dune Park in Redondo Beach. We joined in with some hardcore military types and a masochistic march toward the top of this 200-foot gnarly sandhill. Another great idea brought to you by the Gracie family. Now, just barrel down.
Crawl down.
Crawl down. All right.
Again, the major developments of this day. The Trinidad and Tobago government says it will take a motion to Parliament next year to replace the Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice as the country's final court. That's Caribbean Newsline. Join us again tomorrow for another major newscast. Good evening.